Okay, students, this is our next video for our AV video set for La Relación. In this video and in the subsequent videos, I'm hoping to go into a little bit more detail to our standards and objectives that we're supposed to be learning about. In the previous video I gave you, I read them out to you. You were supposed to take notes on what they are. So now we're just getting into a little bit more depth. I'm going to try to keep these as short as possible, I promise. But I still want you to make sure you understand. Like I said, there's a lot of terminology associated with these standards. Or I should call them just objectives. There's a lot of words that you're supposed to know. So hopefully through the course of the videos, we'll see how they relate to one another. The first standard objective is active reading a nonfiction report. And one of the things that you should, before we begin learning how to read a nonfiction report, we have to understand what exactly is a nonfiction report. Okay, what you should know is that a nonfiction report is a subgenre of the main type of category, which is nonfiction. So, just to begin, we have in literature. I should start here. In literature, we have In literature, we usually have two main types of lit. Okay. This is not working out. A second, guys. Two types of literature, two main types, which one is, of course, fiction, and the other is nonfiction. And this is easy. You already know this. But just to make it clear and where we're going, both of these have different types of genres, subgenres that go under it, basically, right? Right, just like this one does, so does this one. Right? There's several types of fiction, such as a short story, novel, novella, epic poetry, such as the Iliad, which those of you who had for English 2 last year, you already know that. And basically, even though it is poetry, even though it is a type of poetry, it's also fiction. It also falls under the category of fiction because it reads like a narrative, which is a $5 rate for a story. And obviously, the Iliad is not based on truth. Well, maybe it is based on truth, but in other words, it's not supposed to be real. But just like my point is that just like there's several genres under fiction, there's also several genres under nonfiction, which we kind of understand. Okay, basically, what we know about some genres are like the biography. Those are common ones. Autobiography, of course. Another one would be like the essay. Okay, another one would be a research paper. Okay, another one would be a slave narrative, which is one we're going to be reading in class later on. But also we have this thing called, I should put historical in here, historical narrative as well. A historical narrative. Okay, which is basically a story about some event in history by those who lived through it, who lived that event. But also the other one is, like I would say, the nonfiction report. So I could go on and on and on. Okay, but one thing that I want you to know is it is a genre of nonfiction. Okay, some of you probably could have already inferred that. Okay, but I just wanted to make sure that it's clear to you guys. Okay, how it fits into our genres. So we're just focusing on nonfiction. That's basically the main point that I want to get through before we get into it. So we have to learn how a nonfiction report functions. So we're going to be doing that in the next video. I'm going to go ahead and stop it right here. Make sure you take notes. I know this one was just to try to distinguish where the nonfiction report fits into the genre, underneath the genre of a nonfiction. So basically, it's just a subgenre of it. So just make sure you just write these things down. Okay? Watch the next video.